Kirsty O'Connor. I am Group Account Director of Sport and Entertainment at Hill+Knowlton Strategies, Middle East and North Africa. So our client Porsche Middle East and Africa had never worked with influencers before. They understood the importance of digital in the car buying experience and tasked us with working with influencers for them for the first time. So we did a lot of research into kind of the way people in this region purchase cars. So 1 in 4, for example, says that they consult social media. They look at friends' cars, they look at showrooms, competitor brands to see what's out there in the market, but on social media. So we knew it was quite a visual market. So the campaign is based around engaging influencers on social media with Porsche cars to bring that experience to life. One of Porsche's key objectives was to show people how a Porsche can be used in everyday life. It's not just a race car. However, every one of their cars is built on a racetrack and taken to the road. So what we did was we spoke to UAE influencers and said, when you're looking for events or when you're looking to go somewhere in Dubai, like where do you go, what do you do, is there anywhere that you prefer to drive? So we did a lot of research with them to find out the places in Dubai to go and built an entire experiential event around it. So we took influencers on a driving journey around the city. We stopped at different points that influencers told us that they like to do. So for example, they said one of the great things about supercars was being able to valet them at a hotel. So we had 3 different stops where they could then valet the car, and when the car was returned to them, it was a different Porsche. So they were able to experience 3 different models over the course of the day. And then at the end, we took them to Rugby Sevens where they were able to experience how a Porsche races. The key objectives were pretty simple. It was engage influencers for the first time, make sure that they were split across the region, so UAE, KSA, Kuwait and Bahrain were the focus markets. Ensure that they were willing to post statically, but also through stories, because what we sometimes see with influencers is that they'll document an experience through stories, but not post statically. And also make sure that the Porsche brand came across as it is a car for every day, but under the hood, its DNA is a sports car. This was almost used as a bit of a trial project for them, to be honest. They'd never worked with influencers before. The way Porsche normally brings a model to market is they do drive events with media, and these can be over 3-4 days where different media fly in from different markets and experience the new model. So we just had one in January, for example. The objective was to see how we could engage influencers and what impact they would have in helping sell the brand and the experience. What we saw from this was that a lot of importers or showrooms, Porsche Centre Bahrain, Porsche Centre Lebanon, actually jumped on the back of the campaign and were talking to us and talking to the influencers who'd been from their markets. We saw that individuals in the region were using the hashtag MyPorscheDXB when talking about their own Porsches, and it became this online conversation, and people went into showrooms and mentioned it. So it was more about the awareness and to see how influencers could impact that, to then prove the case of adding an influencer wave to one of these introduction to market events, which we did in January for the first time. For us, PR measurements of reach, engagement, but we also looked at the impact of influencers, which is something that's very important to H&K. We believe in making sure that they're relevant, but they are impactful in the area that your client is in. So we have our own tool called Sherlock Plus, which we can see if an influencer is impactful in a certain area. So for this, we were looking at lifestyle influencers, and actually less so those that were automotive savvy, should we say. We wanted to show that a Porsche was a lifestyle choice, and we kind of managed to do that by proving with data that these people were influential in their market and in the area of lifestyle. We measure impact by an amalgamation of different measures, which combined to an impact score between 0 and 100. That includes reach, engagement, frequency of posting, quality of content, if they're working with brands too much, too little, if they were working solely with another car manufacturer, for example, that also would devalue their impact for us. So there's lots of different measures that are added together to create a score between 0 and 100. Key challenges for us were, obviously this was the first time that the client had done something of this nature, so it was kind of going into the unknown almost. We as an agency had obviously done it, but not with them. So there was a lot of learnings that we were able to see along the way. I also think that influencers in this region expect to be paid. It's something that myself personally I'm quite against. But what we did offer them was an experience. So, a few of them were flown into the region, we put them up in a nice hotel, and then all the experiences obviously that we took them on throughout that 24 hours in Porsche vehicles as well was amazing. And, at the end of the day, their content is what makes an influencer. So we made sure that we had content stops along the drives. They were able to take photographs or video with different cars, and we made those content captures bespoke. So they had time on their own with the vehicles, and they directed our camera crew to create the content that they wanted, and then we supplied it afterwards. We also made sure that was phased out. So they got obviously their live content. We then gave them edited images a few days after, and then 10 days after they were given their video pieces. So we saw over a 2-week period that there was constant noise around my Porsche DXB. The key highlights for us were the fact that the hashtag was being used outside of the campaign. I can't express how difficult sometimes that is when consumers are actually picking up on a hashtag which is not in any way included in advertising or fully integrated marketing. It was purely on Instagram and Snapchat. They were engaging with it, taking pictures of their own Porsches and using that hashtag, so we did see some reach and engagement through that as well. I think what was great as well was that the fact that the Porsche centres and the showrooms in each of the market have asked to see the plan and how they can roll that out locally on a smaller level. So they've been able to give out test drives to influencers on their own and plan a little day for them to go out solo or in pairs and experience a Porsche lifestyle. So the fact that they asked for that content to be able to do it themselves was fantastic. I know for a fact we're doing one with Porsche Centre Abu Dhabi shortly. They've asked for our help on that, so they'll be activating. And also the fact that other influencers were posting on the content, asking how they could get involved. So, how have you done this? Is it through Porsche? I wish I could do this. So we've actually written those influencers down, and hopefully we're looking to do another event this year, purely for influencers, and we'll be able to widen the net and make it a larger event. I think what made it so successful were the fact that our influencer decisions were based on data. We didn't just go and look for those with the highest reach, those that had worked with other brands. We consulted our tool, Charlotte Plus, to see who was influential in those spaces, and then looked at their content and to see whether they were relevant to the client. We actually had more influencers attend than we originally planned for, and that was down to the fact that so many were interested in doing it as well. But yeah, I think it goes back to what I was saying previously about impact of an influencer. You see much more value in an influencer if they are impactful in that area. So I think our reach and engagement was so high because we ensured they were impactful in the lifestyle market in the Middle East and North Africa region.